Reddit, what was the most horrifying moment at your school? This happened when I was in 6th grade. A girl died from choking on a pebble that a boy had stuck in her Twinkie. I saw the adults working on her for a bit, but then we were all pushed out of the lunchroom when the paramedics showed up. That is really sad. Sorry you had to witness that. It was horrible, and I still have nightmares about it decades later. Still afraid of dying by choking too. Poor girl. I still have this lingering feeling of sadness for her. What happened to the boy? Don't know anything aside of the fact that he never came back to school, ever. This also happened pre-internet, so information on cases like this wasn't easy to find unless it was in the newspaper, and only if you actually read the newspaper. Okay, thanks for taking your time to respond. Don't worry man, that kid was messed up, life can be horrifying. NGL, I feel really bad for the boy too. It isn't like he planned on that happening. It definitely had harmless intent, and I'm sure he'll never be the same. When all the guys in my PE class noticed that I wear MLP underwear, and it turned out to be a big deal. I hate PE class. Today a ball went flying by my head, just touching my hair. I got smashed right in the stomach by a ball today, it was horrible. Smashed in the leg, seems to be a popular place for me to be hit. Freshman year I had a soccer ball drop kicked full force by one of the football players in PE, it just barely missed my face. I did a lot of clubs and was typically at school until 9 or 10 p.m. One night I was at stage crew working on some sets when the local police did their shooter drills. There was no warning when they ran down the halls shooting blanks. That sounds messed up. That seems poorly organized. Yeah, most things in our school were. I could understand it because stage crew didn't have an official meeting time. We stayed until our work was done and the school wasn't really aware of it. The messed up part was there was an SAT class going on around the corner, so the school must have known students would be around. When we were in 8th grade, a girl was forced to have sex with a much older boy, and the pics of the act were set as the save screen of all the school computers. I remember that people discussed if that had been rape or not. But she was kind of slutty, so it was the logical consequence of her acts. She is probably lying to avoid getting grounded by her parents. I have always believed it was rape, but now I realize how young we were. We thought that we were almost adults, but now I realize we were a bunch of kids. So that guy wasn't just a rapist, but also a pedo. What the fuck? Why was she forced to endure that? You can't call the guy a rapist if you don't have any proof it wasn't consensual. Literal tornado went through the city. Our school was in tornado drill stance for quite a while. I heard something about tornadoes in the news. Primary school, we were at the school bus stop when we heard a bang. One kid lost a finger playing with firecrackers, and I'll never forget him screaming and running. Blood everywhere. One of my friends found his finger a few feet away, and it still haunts me. There were a lot worse moments, but this is the one I witnessed that often gets replayed in my head. That moment right after school when an ambulance ran past my cross-country team. This was a very small town. One of the girls in my class, my first crush TBH, was in a really bad wreck with a bunch of other kids who were all fucking stoned and driving 80 down a country road. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Got thrown out the side and the van rolled on top of her. I don't think anyone really got over it. Forgot swimming stuff, had to use the school's manky lost property trunks. They were way too big and genitals kept popping out the side. The girls laughed their arses off. Depression, low self-esteem, anxiety. So most of high school. It's cool. School is awful. May internet hugs come your way, take one from me. A huge fight broke out during recess in 5th grade, don't remember many details about it. This was back when there was still metal playground equipment around, not the plastic stuff they use nowadays. Back in elementary school, we had a jungle gym. One day kids starting showing off their skills, doing backflips and shit, was all really cool. One dude tried to do one. Went up, came straight down on the pole. I remember seeing a few kids trying to get him up before teachers ran over. He never did. Did the pole go through him, or did he just land on it? Smacked his face on the side of it. It was a normal horizontal pole with 2 legs. His face smacked the horizontal part, died instantly. Rather mild. We briefly evacuated because a kid thought it would be funny to light a couple of cheap 4th of July smoke bombs and throw them down the hallway. Was not funny, I assume.